Freaking well, could this year actually be far crazier than we expected? Is the Switch 2 actually about to be announced in just a couple of days? What's going on, everybody? It's Zach from SwitchForce. I'm hitting it right off the bat because this is breaking news, and this is the biggest piece of Switch 2 leak / rumor we've had in ages. This one means that if true, and it's a pretty reliable leaker, that the Switch 2 is going to be announced very, very soon. Make sure to let me know in the comments down below what you think about this, because there's a dev kit that is being said to be out there, and it's a final dev kit, and that would mean that, hey, they are getting ready, because this dev kit most likely belongs to Mercury Steam. And if you don't know who Mercury Steam are, they're the fine folks that made Metroid Dread. Absolutely brilliant game, absolutely amazing game, and this leaker correctly leaked Metroid Dread and its release, and now is saying that he knows there's a Switch 2 dev kit nearby. Are we actually in for the big moment? I am so beyond pumped, because as much as I believe the Switch 2, like I personally believe the Switch 2 is 2024, this has the hair on my arm standing on its end, because if we could somehow get a crazy announcement next week, oh my freaking gosh. Picky Eater Award goes to this guy. Yet Factor has absolutely destroyed my expectations in the best way possible. If y'all are hungry, goodness gracious, this is for you. Today's video is brought to you by Factor, and I actually called them up and said, can we do this again? Because it was so good. I was blown away. These meals are never frozen, always fresh, and they're ready in 2 minutes. I don't know how they taste so good. The flavors, the sauces, the absolute deliciousness and quality of the meats and meals is insane. Nothing this good should be this easy, and yet it is. So make sure to click the link in the description down below and use my code SwitchForce50 to get 50% off your first Factor box. Now there's over 34 options each week. They're chef prepared, dietitian approved, and they even have things like protein plus meals with 30+ grams of protein that are great to keep me energized and always ready to make the next video. Look at this face. This is the face of a happy boy eating a delicious meal made easy, and that's why Factor is absolutely amazing. Factor is now owned by HelloFresh. I like switching between both brands, but there's something about the 2 minutes that is just absolutely wonderful. 2 minutes to Taste Town. Click the link in the description down below, use code SwitchForce50, and get yourself some glorious meals. Let's break it down. What is exactly going down? What's been said? This comes from Nash Weedle. Now I know what you're saying. Nash Weedle, like, who is this guy? Let me establish some credibility for Nash Weedle before we, get into his leak, all right? So Nash Weedle tweeted back on May 30th, 2020 about Metroid Dread. Let me translate this for you. Leak Express. The new 2D Metroid for Switch could be Metroid Dread. It would be the sequel to Fusion. This game began development in 2003 for the Nintendo DS. Nothing else was known. In 2010, Sakamoto was asked if Other M was that game, and he replied that they're different games. Now, you could say this is just speculation. This is just a lucky guess. We'd heard the Metroid Dread name. It is May 30th, 2020. This tweet did not get a lot of traction, as you can see, because, whatever, it's Metroid Dread, and who would have thought Nintendo would bring back Metroid Dread? Let me remind you that Metroid Dread was actually announced at E3 2021, so this is a year before that announcement. But we have a follow-up tweet where in April of 2021, just 2 months before, Nash Weedle tweeted, "Now if I can say it, confirm, 2D yes, Mercury Steam yes, 2021 yes." And then, as you know, we got Mercury Steam's 2021 2D Metroid in Metroid Dread announced at E3 and out later that year. Now that's pretty darn cool if you ask me, and Nash Weedle comes from Spain, and we know that Mercury Steam is over there in Spain, so it really does seem like he has a connection with Mercury Steam. Now, Mercury Steam and Nintendo have a history. They worked on 3DS, they worked on Switch, and because Metroid Dread was such a great seller for the Metroid franchise, and with Metroid Prime 4 waiting in the wings, it wouldn't be surprising that Mercury Steam is working on something else. Enter the next important document. Today's tweet. Leak Express and a beautiful picture of a Switch 2 mock. Now this one is gaining some traction because people are starting to realize that Nash Weedle may actually be onto something super cool here. He says the Switch 2 development kit has arrived in Spain. A Spanish study already has the kit. In the face of Nintendo's policy of secrecy, is a boost in their relations and indicates that we are in the last phases prior to the presentation of the console. Now let me break this down for you because it's a bit of a mistranslation and it kind of seems like a lot of gibberish, right? A Spanish study is supposed to be a Spanish studio, already has the kit. And in the face of Nintendo's policy of secrecy, we know Nintendo has been very cautious and very careful about the Switch 2. They don't want anything to leak out. Remember, there were some reports about dev kits going out to a bunch of developers, reports of dev kits coming back, and we haven't really had the typical buzz that we'd have leading up to a console reveal. But Nash Weedle is indicating that this is a boost in the relations and a show of faith in whatever company is getting this dev kit. And if that company is in fact Mercury Steam, and Nintendo has sent it to them, and they are willing to leak, that tells Nash and me that the announcement is close. And how that logics out and makes sense is Mercury Steam, if this was months, years out from announcement, no way they're talking, right? The only way they would be willing to talk is like, hey, this is happening next week, so like it's about to be go time anyways, let's give some insider info. Does that make sense? Like typically these sources provide info close to the thing. That's why we don't hear about a direct like 3 months ahead of time or the game's in the direct. It's usually like a day before, a week before, 3 days before, 6 hours before. And we are here on the weekend. And Nintendo has used July weekdays in the first half of the month, in fact, the first third of the month, to announce new hardware. They did that with Switch Lite and they did that with Switch OLED. Could they be prepping again? We've got Jeff Grubb saying he's heard of a July event, doesn't know what it is. We have Necro Philippe saying that he's heard of some sort of second event, doesn't know what it is. And now we have the Spanish, Nash Weedle, coming in to say that, hey, there is a Switch 2 dev kit in Spain. Now, he doesn't confirm it's from Mercury Steam, but I'm just all in out betting it's from Mercury Steam. Mercury Steam is where he's had information before, and he actually has another tweet where he says that he knows Mercury Steam is working on another 2D Metroid for 2025. So it would reason that that is the game that they got this Switch 2 dev kit for. Now you might be wondering, like, why would they get a Switch 2 dev kit way late in the cycle? But it could be that this is a final dev kit. Now again, this is grain of salt, this is speculative, but it could be that this is a final dev kit and they're like, here, now you have the final one, this thing is coming out. Now, if it does get announced in July, there's only two possible releases. There's next spring, which is unlikely given a huge lead up, and there's this fall. This fall seems crazy, but Nintendo has done crazier things in the past. We just had a big direct that seemingly confirmed there would be no Switch 2 this fall, but could Nintendo in fact be prepping the impossible? Is Metroid 4 actually going to release this year alongside a Switch 2? I don't want to get you too excited. Again, this is a leak, this is a rumor at this time, but this is very strange. It's very weird to have such a convicted confirmation, and his logic does reason out, especially given that Nash Weedle is someone that has correctly predicted things in the past. He was on the Metroid Dread train over a year before, and then 2 months before, he got his confirmation. And this really confirms to me and to others out there that Nash Weedle has an inside source at Mercury Steam, and Mercury Steam would definitely be a developer that would have a Switch 2 dev kit. And if they're willing to talk about it now, that could indicate that we are in the last phases prior to the presentation of the console, and it could indicate that within a week or two, we know Nintendo's future. Now, of course, there are contradicting viewpoints here. Nate Drake, Nate the Hate, just posted a podcast basically saying he still thinks it's late 2024, and if it's late 2024, there's no way that an announcement is soon. But let me point out that Nate Drake says he doesn't really have any concrete info on that. It's just based on a few bits and bobs and his conjecture. Nash Weedle is saying he has a straight up source that he knows there's a Switch 2 dev kit in Spain and that he believes the announcement is coming soon. This would completely shift the landscape and reshape how Nintendo must be thinking of things, but it would validate our earlier concern about why Nintendo was silent during the second half of the year. Since the Direct, now, yeah, we know there's a bunch of games, but mysteriously, the big game is Mario Wonder in October, and then November is WarioWare and Mario RPG. It feels like there's sort of a strange flip-flop, and then they confirm Switch games for 2024 in Princess Peach and Dark Moon. There's a world where Nintendo was prepping the waters for a new-gen Switch, but assuring current fans and current owners, hey, we do still have games coming. And I'll get really conspiracy theory crazy for you. What if Nintendo wanted to have the June Direct late in June, so that it was very close to the announcement of this new hardware, so that fans who just bought maybe the Zelda Tears of the Kingdom OLED, who just got on the Switch train, don't feel left behind. They know and feel that there's a lot of great games coming, including 2 huge Mario games, a Princess Peach game, a Luigi game. Everything that you wanted from the Mario movie is moving over to Switch, and if you just got this console, don't worry, we've got you covered. Cross-gen is obviously something that Nintendo would inevitably consider and probably go through with, just like the other platform holders have. And if that's why Nintendo wanted a later date, so that they could be closer together and make more sense to the consumer, I don't know. It adds up. I'm not promising anything. This is grain of salt again. And I do know we've gone through many wishful periods, right? The Switch Pro, the Switch 2. Is it coming? Is it not? What gets announced? And then we get a Switch OLED. Is that really what we wanted? Is it really leading up to the, delivering on the hype? I don't know. But we do know that Nintendo inevitably will release a new console. We do know we're closer than ever before. We do know Nintendo has started to open up barely about it in their investor Q&A, saying like, we will carry over Nintendo accounts, can't really talk about much more. And we do know that they said that this fiscal year's Switch hardware forecast did not include new hardware. I have no idea why they would say that. Think about it. Why does Nintendo need to specifically call out it doesn't include new hardware if there's no new hardware to come out? Right? Like, that makes sense, right? They haven't confirmed new hardware. They haven't announced new hardware. So why indicate that your hardware forecast does not include new hardware unless there is new hardware and then you're going to have a new forecast? I don't know. Again, grain of salt. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Nash Weedle, he's got a Metroid history. Does Mercury Steam have a Switch 2 final dev kit? Are they working on a new 2D Metroid for 2025? And is this thing about to burst through into the public stratosphere and we're going to see exactly what Nintendo's future plans are? I freaking hope so, but I'm still not sure. I'll keep you posted if anything gets updated or there's any more drops or details. If we are indeed heading towards an announcement, there probably will be more like this. It's a strange time for this to come out, not before the Direct, but instead after the Direct. What's going to happen? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy, stay positive out there. And until next time, everybody, thanks for watching. SwitchForce out.